Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
How heavy do I journey on the way, when what I seek, my weary travel's end, doth teach that ease and that repose to say, thus far the miles are measured from thy friend. The beast that bears me, tired with my woe, plods dully on to bear that weight in me, as if by some instinct the wretch did know his rider loved not speed, being made from thee. The bloody spur cannot provoke him on, but sometimes anger thrusts into his hide, which heavily he answers with a groan, more sharp to me than spurring to his side. For that same groan doth put this in my mind: my grief lies onward, and my joy behind. So you are to my thoughts as food to life, or as sweet season showers are to the ground, and for the peace of you I hold such strife, as twixt a miser and his wealth is found. Now proud as an enjoyer, and anon, doubting the filching age will steal his treasure, now counting best to be with you alone, than better that the world may see my pleasure. Sometime all full feasting on your sight, and by clean starved for a look, possessing or pursuing no delight, save what is had, or must from you be took. Thus do I pine and surfeit day by day, or gluttoning on all, or all away. That thou hast her, it is not all my grief, and yet it may be said I loved her dearly.
That she hath thee is of my wailing chief, a loss in love that touches me more nearly.
Loving offenders, thus I will excuse ye.
Thou dost love her because thou know'st I love her.
And for my sake even so doth she abuse me, suffering my friend for my sake to approve her.
If I lose thee, my loss is my love's gain. In losing her, my friend hath found that loss.
Both bind each other, and I lose both twain. And both for my sake lay on me this cross.
But here's the joy. My friend and I are one.
Sweet flattery. Then she loves but me alone. Weary with toil, I haste me to my bed, the dear repose for limbs with travel tired. But then begins a journey in my head, to work my mind when body's work's expired. For then my thoughts from far where I abide intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see. Save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which, like a jewel hung in ghastly night, makes black night beauteous and her old face new, Lo, thus by day, the expense of spirit in a waste of shame is lust in action, and till action lust is perjured,
Murderous,
bloody, full of blame,
savage,
extreme, rude,
cruel,
not to trust, enjoyed no sooner but
despised,
straight, past reason,
hunted,
and no sooner had, past reason,
hated,
as a swallowed,
baked,
on purpose laid to make the taker
mad,
mad in pursuit, and in
possession,
so, had, having, and in quest to have,
extreme,
a bliss in proof, and proved a very
woe,
before a joy proposed, behind.
a dream.
All this the world well knows, yet none knows well to shun the heaven that leads men to this.
This hell. Then hate me when thou wilt, if ever now. Now while the world is bent my deeds to cross, join with the spite of fortune, make me bow, and do not drop in for an after loss. Ah, do not, when my heart hath scaped this sorrow, come in the rearward of a conquered woe. Give not a windy night, a rainy morrow, to linger out a purposed overthrow. If thou wilt leave me, do not leave me last, when other petty griefs have done their spite. But in the onset come, so shall I taste at first the very worst of fortune's might. And other strains of woe, which now seem woe, compared with the loss of thee, will not seem so.
Kill me outright with looks, and rid my pain. Wound me not with thine eye, but with thy tongue. Her pretty looks have been mine enemies, and therefore from my face she turns my foes, that they elsewhere might dart their injuries. Oh, call not me to justify the wrong that thy unkindness lays upon my heart. Dear heart, forbear to glance thine eye aside. Tell me thou lovest elsewhere, but in my sight. Use power with power, and slay me not by art. What needst thou wound with cunning, when thy might is more than my o'erpressed defense can bide? Yet do not so, but since I am near slain, kill me outright with looks, and rid my pain.
Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore.
Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore.
Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore.
So do our minutes hasten to their end.
So do our minutes hasten to their
So
end.
do our minutes hasten to their end.
Each changing place with that which goes before.
Each changing place with that which goes
Each
before.
changing place with that which goes before.
Sequent toil, all forwards do
In
contend.
sequent toil, all forwards do contend.
Sequent toil, all forwards do contend.
Nativity once in the main of life.
Nativity once in the main of life.
Nativity once in the main of life.
Crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned.
Crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned.
Crawls to maturity, wherewith being crowned.
Crooked eclipses against his glory fight.
Crooked eclipses against his glory fight.
Crooked eclipses against his glory fight.
Time that gave doth now his gift confound.
And time that gave doth now his gift
Time
confound.
that gave doth now his gift confound.
Time doth transfix the flourish set on you.
Time doth transfix the flourish set on you.
Time doth transfix the flourish set on you.
Delves the parallels in beauty's brow.
And delves the parallels in beauty's brow.
Delves the parallels in beauty's brow.
Feeds on the rarities of nature's truth.
Feeds on the rarities of nature's truth.
Feeds on the rarities of nature's truth.
And nothing stands but for his scythe to mow.
And nothing stands but for his scythe to
And
mow.
nothing stands but for his scythe to mow. And yet to times and hope my verse shall stand, praising thy work, despite his cruel hand. Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end, each changing place with that which goes before. In sequent toil, all forwards do contend.
Nativity once in the main of light, crawls to maturity wherewith being crowned, crooked eclipses gainst his glory fight, and time that gave doth now his gift confound.
Time doth transfix the flourish set on youth, and delves the parallels in beauty's brow, feeds on the rarities of nature's truth, and nothing stands before his scythe to mow.
And yet through times in hope my verse shall stand, praising thy worth despite his cruel hand. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love that alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark, one that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips within his cheek and fed his coupled tongue. Love alters not with the brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom.
If this be error, and upon me